A loaded ballast train arrives from the west and comes to a stand at Havant Aclew starter signal. The wagons are 40-ton ballast hoppers codenamed Sea Lion and were first introduced by the London and South Western Railway in 1903. The original design was so successful that later versions, as in this train, show only minor changes to those of 1903. Each wagon has 3 discharge chutes, one to the outside of each rail and one in the centre. At each end of the wagon is a control platform with 3 large hand wheels to control each of the chute doors. The Southern Railway and its successor, the Southern Region of British Railways, always relied much more heavily on passenger revenues rather than income from freight operations. Short pickup goods were, however, still being operated all over the region in the 1950s. Chichester to Portsmouth stopping trains were, on the other hand, operated on a regular interval service throughout the day, with departures from Chichester on an hourly basis. Two Billy EMUs were regular performers for over 30 years on this service, and this one is seen leaving for Portsmouth. The pickup goods, headed by an N-class mogul, is running late and had been stopped at platform 2 to allow the passenger service to pass. It is now free to resume its journey. A mixed train is one for the conveyance of passengers and freight in which the freight wagons are not required to have a continuous brake. Passenger carriages had to be marshalled immediately behind the engine, and there had to be a brake van at the extreme rear of the train. Mixed trains were largely found on lightly used branch lines where a separate freight train was not justified by traffic levels or presented timetabling difficulties. Mixed trains invariably required more time for shunting and thus were best suited to shorter branch lines. The Hayling Island line, at less than 5 miles and with no intermediate station sidings en route, was ideally suited to mixed trains such as this one. An RAF fuel depot at Portfield, Chichester, was built in 1938-39 as part of an Air Ministry contract for the supply and distribution of fuel to the nearby airfields of Tangmere, West Hampnett and Merston. It was not connected to the national government pipeline but was supplied by rail. Although West Hampnett and Merston airfields closed at the end of the war, Tangmere continued to be an operational RAF base until it finally closed in 1970. Fuel continued to be supplied by rail, and this is one such train of tank wagons heading east to Portfield. The empty ballast wagons are seen here on their return journey to the Southern Region's quarry to be reloaded. The quarry was started in 1874 at Meldon near Oakhampton, and in the 1950s was producing ballast for use all over the Southern Region and beyond. In 1953, 340,000 tonnes of ballast were produced. The rock quarried was called hornfells and is considered to be harder and more long-lasting than other types of ballast. That's all for now. See you next time.